Have you ever found yourself questioning, why is God making me wait so long? I remember a time when I was desperately waiting for a breakthrough. Every day I would pray, hoping that this would be the day God answered my prayers. Months turned into years, and doubt began to creep in. Felt like God was silent. But through that period, I discovered something profound. God wasn't ignoring me. He was preparing me. Just like a gardener waits for the right season to plant, God knows the perfect time for our blessings. In this video, we'll explore the transformative power of waiting on God and how to do it the right way. Stay with me till the end, and I promise you'll see waiting not as a punishment, but as a divine process to shape us into the people we are meant to be. Waiting on God is a concept that many believers struggle with. It involves trusting in God's timing and plan, even when it doesn't align with our own desires or schedules. This process can be incredibly challenging, but it is also an essential part of spiritual growth and maturity. Understanding the purpose behind the wait can transform our perspective and strengthen our faith. Patience is a virtue that is repeatedly emphasized in the Bible. It is a fruit of the Spirit and a crucial element of faith. When we wait on God, we develop patience, which in turn helps us to grow spiritually. Patience teaches us to rely on God's wisdom rather than our own understanding. It helps us to remain steadfast and faithful, even in the face of uncertainty. The Bible is filled with stories of individuals who had to wait on God. These stories serve as powerful reminders of the importance of patience and trust. By examining these examples, we can learn valuable lessons about how to wait on God in our own lives. One of the most well-known stories of waiting on God is that of Abraham and Sarah. God promised Abraham that he would be the father of many nations, but this promise did not come to fruition immediately. Abraham and Sarah waited many years before they finally had their son, Isaac. This story teaches us about the importance of faith and perseverance, even when God's promises seem delayed. The Israelites' journey to the Promised Land is another significant example of waiting on God. After being freed from slavery in Egypt, the Israelites wandered in the desert for 40 years before they reached the land that God had promised them. This story highlights the importance of obedience and trust in God's plan, even when the path is difficult and the wait is long. David was anointed as king of Israel when he was just a young shepherd boy, but it took many years before he actually ascended to the throne. During this time, David faced numerous challenges and trials. His story illustrates the importance of waiting on God's timing and remaining faithful, even when the wait is filled with hardship. Even Jesus had a period of waiting and preparation. Before beginning his public ministry, Jesus spent 40 days in the wilderness, fasting and praying. This time of waiting and preparation was crucial for the work that lay ahead. It serves as a powerful example of the importance of spiritual preparation during times of waiting. Prayer is a vital component of waiting on God. It is through prayer that we communicate with God, seek His guidance, and find the strength to remain patient. Prayer helps us to align our desires with God's will and to find peace in the waiting. It is a powerful tool that sustains us during times of uncertainty. Waiting on God does not mean sitting idly by. There is a difference between active and passive waiting. Active waiting involves seeking God, praying, and preparing ourselves for the future. It is a time of growth and development. Passive waiting, on the other hand, involves doing nothing and simply hoping for the best. By engaging in active waiting, we position ourselves to receive God's blessings when the time is right. Waiting on God is a time of spiritual growth and development. It is during these times that we learn to rely more fully on God and to deepen our faith. The challenges we face while waiting can refine our character and strengthen our relationship with God. By embracing the waiting period, we allow God to work in us and prepare us for the future. Waiting on God is not about sitting idly by and expecting miracles to happen. Instead, it's an active process of faith and trust, intertwined with patience and perseverance. Think of it like a farmer waiting for his crops to grow. He doesn't just plant the seeds and do nothing. He waters them, tends to the soil, and waits for the right time to harvest. Similarly, waiting on God requires us to nurture our faith, engage in prayer, and trust that His timing is perfect. The Bible is replete with stories of individuals who exemplified what it means to wait on God. Take Abraham, for instance. God promised him descendants as numerous as the stars, yet he had to wait decades for the birth of his son, Isaac. During this period, Abraham's faith was tested, and he even made mistakes along the way, but his ultimate reliance on God's promise was unwavering. Another example is Joseph, who, despite being sold into slavery and unjustly imprisoned, continued to trust in God's plan for his life. His journey was long and fraught with challenges, but his faith never wavered. Eventually, he rose to a position of great authority in Egypt, fulfilling the dreams God had given him as a young boy. In today's fast-paced world, waiting can be incredibly challenging. We live in a culture that values instant gratification, where waiting seems like a waste of time. However, the principles from these biblical stories are timeless. Just as Abraham and Joseph trusted in God's timing, we too must learn to place our trust in Him. Consider your own life. Are there promises or dreams that you believe God has placed in your heart, but they seem to be taking a long time to come to fruition? Reflect on the process of waiting. It's not about passivity, but about actively preparing for the fulfillment of those promises. This could involve honing your skills, deepening your relationship with God, or serving others. 1. Prayer and meditation. Make it a daily practice to spend time in prayer and meditation. This helps you stay connected to God and attuned to His guidance. It's in these quiet moments that God often speaks to our hearts. 2. Study Scripture. Delve into the Bible to find encouragement and direction. The Scriptures are filled with promises and reminders of God's faithfulness. Reading about others' journeys can provide hope and perspective for your own. 3. Serve others. While waiting, focus on helping those around you. Serving others can be a powerful way to take your mind off your own waiting period and fulfill God's command to love one another. 4. Stay positive. Maintain a positive attitude. Gratitude and positivity can transform your waiting period into a time of growth and learning. 5. Seek community. Surround yourself with a community of believers who can offer support, encouragement, and accountability. Sometimes, God speaks to us through the people in our lives. One of the most common pitfalls is impatience. Impatience can lead to hasty decisions that are not aligned with God's will. Remember Sarah's impatience with God's promise to Abraham? She took matters into her own hands by suggesting Abraham have a child with Hagar, which led to complications. Another pitfall is doubt. When our wait is prolonged, it's easy to start doubting God's promises. The story of the Israelites wandering in the desert for 40 years is a powerful reminder of how doubt can prolong our waiting period and prevent us from entering our promised land. Distraction is another common issue. In our digital age, it's easy to get sidetracked by endless sources of entertainment and information. Staying focused on God's promises and purpose requires intentionality and discipline. Waiting on God is not without its rewards. It builds character, enhances our faith, and aligns us with God's perfect timing. Just like a muscle that gets stronger through resistance training, our faith grows stronger when we exercise patience. One of the most profound benefits is the peace that comes from trusting in God's plan. When we surrender our timelines and expectations to God, we experience a deep sense of peace, knowing that He is in control. Additionally, waiting on God often leads to greater blessings than we could have imagined. The story of Job, who lost everything but remained faithful, culminates in God restoring him with even more than he had before. Here are practical questions to ponder about. How do I know if I'm waiting on God or just being lazy? Waiting on God is active, involving prayer, preparation, and trust. Laziness involves inaction and neglect of responsibilities. If you're engaging in activities that align with God's will while waiting, you're on the right track. What if I never see the fulfillment of God's promises? Trust in God's timing and purpose. Some promises might be fulfilled in ways we don't expect or even beyond our lifetime. The key is to remain faithful and trust that God's plans are ultimately for our good. How can I stay motivated during long periods of waiting? Stay connected to God through prayer, immerse yourself in His Word, and seek encouragement from your faith community. Remember past instances where God has been faithful to bolster your faith. Feeling overwhelmed is natural during prolonged periods of waiting. It's essential to address these feelings constructively. Start by acknowledging your feelings rather than suppressing them. Share your struggles with a trusted friend or mentor who can offer support and pray with you. Engage in stress relief activities like exercise, journaling, or spending time in nature. These activities can help clear your mind and bring a fresh perspective. Remember, even Jesus took time to retreat and pray during his most challenging times. When we wait on God, our decisions are more likely to align with his will. It's like having a reliable GPS guiding us on the right path. By seeking God's direction and waiting for his guidance, we can make choices that lead to the best outcomes. For example, before making a significant decision like changing jobs or moving to a new city, spend time in prayer and seek God's guidance. Wait for his peace to confirm your decision. This doesn't mean every decision will be easy, but you'll have the assurance that you're on the right path. Relationships are one of the most critical areas where waiting on God plays a vital role. Whether you're waiting for a spouse, reconciliation, or healing in a relationship, trusting God's timing is crucial. For instance, many people rush into relationships out of fear of being alone, but waiting on God can lead to a partnership that is fulfilling and aligned with his will. It's about preparing yourself and trusting that God will bring the right person into your life at the right time. Career decisions can be daunting, especially in a world that values quick success and constant progress. Waiting on God in your career means seeking his guidance before making significant moves, such as job changes or business ventures. Consider Daniel from the Bible, who waited on God and sought his wisdom in every decision, even in a foreign land. His faithfulness and patience led him to positions of great influence and respect. Waiting on God often leads to profound spiritual growth. It's during these times that our faith is stretched and our dependence on God deepens. The waiting period is like a refining process, stripping away our impatience and self-reliance and teaching us to lean wholly on God. Engage in spiritual disciplines like fasting, prayer, and studying the Word of God during your waiting period. These practices can strengthen your faith and bring you closer to God. Maintaining hope is crucial when waiting on God. Hope is the anchor that keeps us steady when everything around us seems uncertain. One way to maintain hope is by remembering past instances of God's faithfulness. Keeping a journal of answered prayers and blessings can serve as a powerful reminder of his goodness. Another way is to focus on God's promises in the Bible. Scriptures like Isaiah 40 verse 31, "But those who wait on the Lord shall renew their strength," can provide immense encouragement. Staying encouraged involves surrounding yourself with positive influences and engaging in activities that uplift your spirit. Listen to worship music, read uplifting books, and spend time with people who inspire and encourage you. Joining a small group or Bible study can provide a support system where you can share your struggles and victories. These groups can offer prayer support and encouragement, helping you stay focused and positive. Going to church and spending time with close friends can provide the encouragement, accountability, and prayer support needed to sustain us. They can help us see things from a different perspective and remind us of God's promises. Participating in church activities and connecting with like-minded believers can strengthen your faith and provide a sense of belonging. Sharing your journey with others can also inspire and encourage them in their faith. Worship is a powerful tool that can transform our perspective during the waiting period. It shifts our focus from our problems to God's greatness. Through worship, we declare our trust in God's plan and timing. Engaging in regular worship, whether through singing, playing an instrument, or simply listening to worship music, can uplift your spirit and strengthen your faith. Worship reminds us of God's sovereignty and goodness, providing comfort and hope. As we wait on God, it's important to move forward with confidence and trust. This means continuing to live our lives with purpose and intention, even when the answers or outcomes are not yet visible. Trust in God's plan and timing, knowing that He is working behind the scenes. Live each day with the assurance that God is in control and that He has a perfect plan for your life. By doing so, you'll experience peace and fulfillment, even during the waiting period. Waiting on God is a journey of faith, patience, and trust. It's about believing that His timing is perfect and that He has our best interests at heart. By understanding and embracing the process of waiting, we can grow spiritually, deepen our relationship with God, and experience His blessings in ways we never imagined.